Hey everyone, this is Tim here from Your 6 News. Today in this video, I'm going to be talking about the PlayStation 2 or 3, the next PlayStation handheld that is going to be coming out at some point in the future. It's already in development, and it's going to be playing PlayStation 5 games. You can take that on the go. So the great thing about that is if you got your PlayStation 5 library or your PS4 library, you're going to be able to take that everywhere. You have all those games already unlocked, kind of like how you would on your Steam Deck. And it's going to be coming out with quite a bit of competition. I got my Nintendo Switch here. I have my Steam Deck over there. I have 3 handheld devices in my house already. And I think the one I'm looking forward to the most is actually the PlayStation version, just because I have my entire library connected to my account of nearly 400 to 500 games. So that's going to be great, especially if I'm playing Call of Duty in a different room or something like that in my bed. So I have a article here. This is from The Shortcut. Some things to expect with the PSP 2. Now, I'm kind of confused about the name. We got PSP 2. Now, the PSP came out in, like 2003, 2004, something like that. And then the next handheld that Sony came out with was the PlayStation Vita. So I don't know if they're going to go with the PSP 2 or go with the PSP 3. So very confused on that one. So we'll have to wait and see. So this article is saying, this was written April 7th of 2025, which was, about a month ago. It's saying that PSP 2 is likely to be around $500 or more. And if it's going to be playing PlayStation 5 games, the PlayStation 5 is, $500. And it's probably going to go up with the whole trade war and tariff thing going on between the United States and China. So expect that to probably be about maybe $550 if it's going to be around that price point right now. In the future, it's probably going to be more, especially with the PlayStation 5. That is probably going to be going up to about $550, $600. Gosh, if you got the PlayStation Pro, that's probably going to be like $800, $900 with all the adjusted prices. Unless Sony is able to move their manufacturing ahead of time to maybe like, I don't know, Vietnam or something where the tariffs are reciprocal. They're not really affecting each other too much here and there, as opposed to going over to China, which we've been hammering them quite a bit from the United States. So we'll see what happens with this and the different pricing in the future as we know more. But I know Xbox just came out with something today where games are going to be priced at $80. And I believe the console, the Xbox Series X, that's going to be priced at like $550. So everything has been going up, 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 up. And it looked like Nintendo was ahead of the game, coming out with $90 games. And their handheld is going to be like $500, $550. I was looking at the pre-orders. So everything is going up and up and up. So we'll have to see if all these companies are able to move their manufacturing base to a different company where the tariffs aren't nearly as bad. So they're saying 2026 with a potential launch or reveal. I could see a reveal coming out in 2026. I love it when these companies come out and they just shadow drop the product and they release it the same day. All right, I hate it when there's so much hype built up around something and all of a sudden you have to wait a year or two and then you forget about it. So 2026, I could see a reveal. Probably going to be coming out 2027 or 2028. Alongside the PlayStation 6 is kind of what I'm thinking. So it's saying it's going to be playing PlayStation 5 games. It's going to be doing stuff with the resolution, lowering that. It's going to be using PSSR, their version of AMD FSR, the upscaling technology. Okay, so one of the biggest criticisms of Sony's PS5 add-on, the PlayStation Portal, is that it can only stream games via remote play. Now, I looked at the PlayStation Portal. It's $200. That's pretty cheap when you got a PlayStation 5. You can play all your PlayStation 5 games with a decent internet connection. When you're sitting on the toilet or something, or if you're in a completely different room and you don't have access to a TV. $200, that's a very good price point, depending on how the latency is. And I was looking this up before because I was looking at the PlayStation Portal. And I was curious, how well is that doing? So it says Sony has sold nearly 2 million units as of late 2024. So it's 2025 right now, halfway through the year, maybe 2.5 million units sold, with around 4 to 5% of PS5 owners owning this. And this is what really got me. The device is estimated to have high profit margins, potentially close to $100 per unit. It's a very simple design. It's just meant to stream the device, but $100, that is a heck of a profit right there off of each one of these sold. And wow, that's great. So I could see that being pushed. Maybe I think this is why Sony got into the PlayStation handheld business once again. They saw the profit margin from this device right here, and they're like, you know what? If we could replicate this by maybe like 50 to 60 million with an actual like handheld, we are going to be doing very, very good. So I think the PlayStation Portal was kind of a testing ground to test out the demand and what kind of price point we could put it at, and what can we expect from our followers. So PlayStation Portal, I would have got one, but it has an OLED screen. My eyes, they can't handle OLED. I go with LCD screens, otherwise they just bleed. So maybe it is an LCD. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. But I know there was a specific reason why I didn't buy one, and it was because of some sort of like flickering with the screen. PMW, pulse width modulation. You see that on your screen. Everything flickers. Your naked eye doesn't see it, but your eyes adjust to it, and it just gives you really, really bad eye strain. And PSP, according to Sony's timeline. So we just had the PlayStation 5 Pro that launched, was it 2024, November 7th? And I was one of the people that actually bought that up at around $700, and I expect that to go up with the whole tariff stuff. So we're focused on the development now of the PSP 2. And, well, they probably are going to be doing PlayStation 6. That's probably going to be coming out 2027, 2028. So we might hear about that in 2027. Usually Sony is doing around, 7 to 8 years per console cycle. So if you look at the PlayStation 5, that came out in 2020 during the whole virus era. And 7 years will be 2027, 2020. That seems about the right timeline. So it seems like those both are going to be coming out around the same time. Now, they're saying, why is the PlayStation 2 needed sooner than later? So one of the reasons why they are saying it's probably needed sooner is because there's so much competition. And also, Xbox is coming out with handheld, apparently. So you got Xbox, Nintendo Switch, you got this Asus ROG Ally X, MSI Claw, never heard of that, Lenovo Legion, I heard of that, Acer Nitro, the Steam Deck. So you get like maybe 10 different handhelds all of a sudden, all taking up market space here, trying to get people to buy them. Now, some people might buy like 2 or 3 of them, like me. You know what? I love the Steam Deck. I was so surprised by my Steam Deck, but I couldn't play it because my eyes always hurt because the screen had that flicker issue with the OLED version. But, the controls felt so good. I thought it was going to be more of like a gimmick, and then I started playing it. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. How did they do that? The controls in Rocket League, when I was playing it, it felt so smooth. So I'm hoping Nintendo Switch, they can come out with amazing controls too, and a beautiful screen. That was the biggest downside of the Nintendo Switch 1. I was trying to play like Overwatch 2 and stuff on this. I'm like, I'm an adult. I don't have little fingers. How am I supposed to hold this? These thumbsticks are so small. And, it was fine, but it could have been a lot better experience. And I know you can buy some stuff off Amazon where you kind of just like put on new grips and stuff, but it's, I don't know, it's just not the same. Just not the same. So we'll see what happens with that. So there's a lot of competition. Now, the one thing that is going to be really helping out PlayStation, like I said, is all these other devices, do you really have the same library of games? It really depends what you're playing on. Like, obviously, with the other ones here, like you probably access your Steam account through all these like PC, Windows, and kind of like 11 devices up here. Nintendo Switch, I believe that is going to be backwards compatible. and forward compatible with the Nintendo Switch 1. So you can play Nintendo Switch 2 games on the Nintendo Switch 1. I think that's what I heard. That is actually incredible if they were able to do that. They just completely lower the resolution so it's workable on the original console. So a lot of competition, and I don't own anything on Xbox. Some of you guys might. So that really is what it's going to come down to. Like, where do you have your games? You don't want to go ahead and have to buy all these games twice. So wherever you have your games, and I'm expecting if the PlayStation 2, or I mean the PSP 2, is going to be playing your PlayStation 5 games at a lower resolution, I mean, it's going to be comparable to your Steam Deck. Because I think I'm able to play Call of Duty Warzone at about 50 frames per second in most of the maps. So it's going to have some decent hardware in there, for sure. So let's look at this. Whether Sony could topple Nintendo Switch stranglehold in the PlayStation or the portable space remains to be seen, but it is certainly going to have to do a better job this time around. The PSP Vita has done, it did okay. It didn't really do all that good. Let's look up the numbers for a PS Vita. I don't think that sold nearly well. The original PlayStation portable sold 82 million units, and it wasn't quite as profitable for the PlayStation Vita. It was expensive to produce, especially early models with proprietary memory cards. And I believe it had like little touch pads on the bottom and stuff. So not nearly as good. In short, the Vita didn't lose Sony money, but fell short of profitability goals due to high-end production costs and limited sales and market shifts. So it seemed like people didn't really want handhelds at that time as much as they did in the past. So yeah, so hopefully a render like this or something. I hope it does kind of keep the PlayStation portable kind of look to it, because that'll bring back some memories. So going into the pricing, the PS Vita costed around $250. The Wi-Fi model cost about $300, and you had a 3G model too, released in 2011. Compare that to the $200 PlayStation Portal. Okay, yeah. So, but we're gonna be probably comparing this to the other competition, like the Nintendo Switch 2 price point is expected at at $450. So I'm expecting it to be around that price, $450, especially if it's going to be having comparable specs inside of it. And let's see, based on these figures, the PSP2 is probably going to be falling between $500 to $700. If it's $700, they are missing the price point completely. That would be awful. Definitely don't do that. Around $500, I think, would be the maximum. Even if we have all these issues with the tariff, like $500 is a lot for a portable console. Like, you can buy a PlayStation. Why would you want to be playing on a PlayStation Portable at that price point? So yeah, so we're gonna have to look at how powerful the next PlayStation Portable 2 can be. So let's go on down. PSP 2 will be able to run PS4 games. Probably have a good resolution on those. Then we're going to be certainly dropping the resolution on our PlayStation 5 games and upscaling it. So what are the possible specs with this? Why will Sony choose AMD for the PSP2? Sony has had a long-standing relationship with AMD, which makes the prospect of the PSP2 being powered by NVIDIA or Intel extremely unlikely. AMD has also shown that it can deliver significant results with the Steam Deck and other PC handhelds. So they got the reputation at making good handhelds, and Sony sees that, and they're probably going to do something with AMD, is what this person is thinking from the shortcut. And that makes a lot of sense. Go with something that's already successful in the market with all these other PC-like handhelds and Steam Deck. So yeah, I am kind of excited to see how this turns out. I'm skeptical at the price. If it goes above $500, I mean, I'm still going to buy it just because I do a lot of tech stuff. But the average person, why would he go with a PlayStation Portable when he can go with a PlayStation 5? So yeah, hopefully you guys found this a little bit interesting. Signing out. Peace.